Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I just want to be able to broadly speak on how you can go from 0 to 10K per month as a beginner, as someone who's never been able to do that. And I'm pretty sure that most of you guys are probably sitting between, the 1K, 2K, 3K per month mark. And don't worry, I've been there too. And honestly, I used to work a 9-to-5 job. I used to work at a pizza job, delivering pizzas, staying up till 2 in the morning, closing the restaurant. I've worked as a stalker. I've done landscaping. I have done construction. I have done all these different jobs that you can ever imagine where my stress levels were extremely high. And I didn't come from a place of money. My family was very broke. And I always just wanted to figure out a way, okay, what is the solution to making $10,000 per month? Now, the way that I want to start off this video is by telling you guys how I would do this all over again if I lost everything. I would make 10K per month if I were to start off from scratch. Knowing that I was once somebody that was in your position once, and the mindset, the habits, the traits, the practices that I would have to implement every single day in order to achieve it, right? So one of the most important things that I really want to get by is understanding your current situation. Your current situation is probably not the best situation in the world. But however, you got to admit that there are other people around the world that are experiencing it, have it way harder than you. And the issue is that you keep on continuing to believe that your situation is horrible, and you practice telling yourself this, and your mind is a magnet to what you want. You got to stop telling yourself that you are not good enough, because you are good enough. If you watched the previous video, I told you have to believe in yourself. You are the captain of your own ship and your own fate. Okay? So the ideology behind making $10,000 per month is that it is not going to take 2 to 3 months, right? Let's put it this way. To get to $10,000 per month, it is probably going to take you 12 months, give or take a year. All the people that are saying online that you can make it within the next 30 days, within tomorrow, or maybe you've seen people in your DM saying that, hey, they can help you make a shit ton of money. All you have to do is X, Y, Z, and then you'll be able to make money. It's just no, it's going to take 12 months. Give or take, it probably might even take 12 to 24 months. For me, my entrepreneurial journey, if you remember the last video, started in 2017, where I planted the seed that I knew that I was going to become successful, that I knew that I wasn't going to work an ordinary job, not work a 9-to-5, but it took me about 3 to 4 years in order to start making that $10,000 per month. But however, if I were to do it all over again and do it as quickly as possible, what are some of the things that I have to take into account in order to speed up the process? Well, number one, there's deadlines, there's anxiety, there's fear, right? And what I like to do if I really want to get something done is I like to use that fear and transmute that energy into something that will actually make me more productive, right? And that's something that a lot of people say, and I'll actually talk about that going over the frequency chart, talking about all these different wavelengths, all these different frequencies, so then that way you can become successful. And I'm actually going to dive super, super deep in it, and you're going to completely blow your mind. It's going to completely blow your mind. And you're going to have a lot more perspicacity, you're going to be a lot more aware, and you're going to be able to implement this into your business and understand the methodology of consumer behavior. So again, let's just put it this way. The idea of people saying that you can make money in 2 to 3 months or a month, whatever it is, 10K per month, 5K per month, it's not going to take that long. It's going to take 12 to 24, right? Because you have to understand the importance of developing a skill and developing the practice and developing a habit. Think about every single habit that you have to become skillful in, right? It didn't take you overnight to become an overnight sensation in your favorite video game. It didn't take you overnight to become a sensation in the sports that you're playing. It didn't take you overnight to become confident, to speak up on stage and talk to a bunch of other people. It didn't take overnight for you to go into the classroom and present in front of your classmates and not have any anxiety at all. You have to do it over and over and over again. And repetition, I might even be spelling that wrong, repetition is super important, right? So in order to make $10,000 per month, this is just the goal, right? And in order to make $10,000 per month, you need to be placed inside of a certain vehicle. So it's going to take 12 to 24 months, but in order to get here, you need to be put inside a certain vehicle. And I'm sure that you have seen all the different vehicles that are out there. I'm talking about okay, let's list them out. SMMA, we got drop shipping, we got affiliate marketing, we got real estate, we got YouTube automation. We got all these different vehicles that you can make $10,000 per month in. right? But what's really important is that, like, okay, you got the vehicle, but who is driving? Who's driving the vehicle? Is this a person that can adapt? Is this a person that is obsessed? Is this a person that has the quality and traits of an entrepreneur? The quality and traits of actually developing and becoming the best version of themselves, you know? Or do they want to become a person that's just like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna leave it out to last minute. I'm not gonna do it at all because, like, you know, I got other things to do, like scrolling on my phone on TikTok or on YouTube, or watching the next binge watching the next Netflix episode of some sort, or maybe just going out for drinks and stuff like that on a weekend, when you can actually substitute that with reading a book or becoming somebody in something that you know you deserve to be, and you know that you have to become in order to make 10K per month, right? Now, I know that, you know, this right here is super important. Number one is the vehicle. Number two is who is driving, right? The driver, which is you. What is the actual reality of making $10,000 per month? Well, if we were to focus on who's the driver, or does the person that you are right now with the traits that you have, is that the driving factor? And is that the person that you have to be in order to make 10K per month? It's not more so about what vehicle it is. It's not more so about if you're going to get into SMA or dropshipping, affiliate marketing, real estate, YouTube automation. It doesn't matter about any of that. What matters is who is the person that you are going to become in order to make $10,000 per month. Do you have to wake up earlier? Do you have to write down your to-do? Do you have to journal more? Do you go to the gym? Do you even take care of yourself? You need to think about these things if you want to start making $10,000 per month. It's not necessarily about the goal, right? $10,000 a month is just a goal, right? But goals don't achieve goals. Goals don't achieve themselves. Humans do. Humans achieve goals, all right? So you got to understand that who you are as a driver is just a constellation of different beliefs, and you have to know how to change how you think, right? There's so many different weaknesses on what is actually stopping people from becoming successful. And I'm gonna talk about the driver. Like I said, it takes 12 to 24 months to become successful. Does the driver have the patience to develop a skill? Because if not, then you're not going to make the 10K per month and you're just going to hit the zero again, right? So in my story, right, in order for me to make $10,000 per month, I knew that I had to get rid of several different factors in my life that was preventing me from becoming the person that can actually make $10,000 per month, right? I knew that if I wanted to become successful, that I would have to wake up earlier. I would have to stop smoking marijuana. I would have to stop the weekly or the weekends drinking. I would have to stop partying. I would have to stop playing video games. I would have to stop doing all these things and instead replace it with things that are actually productive. Things that I know are not going to self-sabotage myself. Because the reality is that everybody is in this area right here because they always self-sabotage. So if you remember, in the previous video, I told you guys to list out a bunch of different things that are preventing you from becoming successful. Once you identify what that is, understand that that is self-sabotage, and you got to be able to figure out what are the controls and what are the non-controls, right? Again, in my life, in order to live a life of abundance, in order to make tens of thousands of dollars a month, in order to make $100,000 a month, in order to make $1 million in a month, I knew that I had to stop all these different things that are keeping me in this loop, right? And this is just like the mediocre lifestyle, right? The mediocre lifestyle of working the 9 to 5, then resting or calming down your brain, saying that, oh, I'm not gonna do anything because I don't feel like I just had such a hard day at work. So don't mind that. So 9 to 5, you're resting, and then in order to alleviate the pain that you're going through, or at least get rid of or take your mind off of all these different things, you start to, oh, I'm gonna go party, I'm gonna go drink, I'm gonna go hang out with friends. And then the next day, you gotta go back to work, and you feel like shit, and now you're in this position in your mindset where it's just like, okay, like, why do I feel like shit? Why do I hate my job? You know, why am I so lazy? You know, you gotta get rid of that. And when I figured out how to make $10,000 per month, I started to attract a lot more people into my life. When I started becoming more of an individual that can inhibit the traits of an entrepreneur, inhibit the traits of making $10,000 per month, right? As soon as I became the person of that, I started to attract more people into my life that are doing the exact same things, right? So say farewell to the friends that aren't doing what you want to do, because the reality is that you can't associate yourselves with those people if you want and you have a bigger vision for your future, right? If people say that they want to stick in school, allow them to stick in school. People say that they don't want to become successful and they don't want to build a business, then allow them to do that, because you're not them and they're not you, and you are your own unique identity, and this is something that you need to figure out. All these different business models, SMMA, crypto or trading, right? Drop shipping. What else do we have? Real estate, RE, affiliate marketing. All these business models work. You can make tens of thousands of dollars with these business models. But if you don't have the traits in order to make 10K per month, or you're not gonna change your lifestyle and change who you are, change your belief system, add more or better principles to your life, then how do you expect any of these to work? Because the reality is there's all these business models and there's so many different sellers that are selling courses on this information. They work. But then the question also becomes like, what are the skill sets that you need to acquire in order to see success in this business model? All right? There's so many different skill sets. Like, for example, SMMA. You need to have lead generation or client acquisition. You need to be able to have a good skill set with sales, really good skill set with marketing. You need to learn ads, right? With drop shipping, you need to learn marketing. You need to learn direct-to-consumer marketing. All these business models, they all work, but none of this matters if you're not going to become the person, and you're not going to work on yourself, you're not going to go to the gym in the morning, you're not going to change your lifestyle in order to get to 10K per month. So I'm going to bring back the vehicle and the driver situation. I'm also going to be talking about the vehicle. So every single business model, that's what it is. This could be a C8, this could be a BMW, this could be whatever it is. It could be a manual car, right? If you only know how to drive an automatic and I give you a manual car, then the odds are that you'll probably just crash the car. But if you learn the skill sets that it takes in order to drive a manual car, then you'll know exactly how sensitive the clutch is, you'll know exactly when to shift gears, you know exactly when to not, or when to switch gears so that way you don't burn out the clutch. You know all those different things. I think what you need to understand is that businesses do not fail, but people do. And if people don't have the characteristics and the traits to make a vehicle profitable, then they're not going to make any money, right? And where a lot of people give up, gain all this momentum, they're building, and then they drip. They build, and then they drop. They build, and then they drop, right? Why are we dropping at that area? You're getting all this momentum, and then maybe you suffer your first failure, or maybe you believe that something bad just happened so terribly that it's just like the end of the world, and then you just can't do it anymore. It's so annoying, right? And then you just drop, and then you have to recover yourself and get back on track, right? So now you do the same thing over and over and over again. And now I'm not going to say that this is like, a bad thing, but there's a point that you can change, right? There's responsibility that you can take. In order to become successful. And the responsibility is, you are the captain of your ship and you're the master of your fate. I want to talk to you guys about planes real quick. So we already went over this. A lot of people, they start something, they learn something, they go through the motions, they're having all this success, they believe it's success, but then next thing you know, boom, they drop because they have this limiting belief, or they have this bad habit of believing that it's not going to work out, and they have to stop, and they don't feel the need to continue. The obsession just kind of cuts off because they want to go back into their subconscious and find that chemical. They want the dopamine of going out, right? So all those things that I listed before of like drinking, smoking, all those friends telling you that you can't do something, those are going to come back, and that's what's going to pull you down, right? So there's something where in order to become responsible, there's sometimes you got to say no. Yeah, say no to a couple things. But what really matters is, like, for example, if in every business model that you have tried before in the past you didn't give up, I believe that you would have been very successful. But the thing is that nobody understands the point of no return. They are fearful of the point of no return. Now, in planes, whenever a captain or a pilot is taking off on the runway, right? And this is the plane right here, right? Terrible plane. Boom, 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 right? They have this massive runway. And they're going at a specific speed. They're going at a certain speed, right? And there's this point right here, and it's called the point of no return. Now, as you're going forward, this is what's happening, right? Now, the point of no return is where you actually start seeing success. Like in a plane, if a captain is going or a pilot is going a certain speed and he passes the point of no return and he doesn't take off, then either the plane is going to crash, or you better bet yourself that you are going slow enough so in that way you can make a U-turn, right? Now, if the pilot decides, okay, you know what, I'm not going to take off, then everybody in the ship dies, including himself, right? But if he takes off and he becomes successful, right, and he starts flying away, right, like he should, then what ends up happening is this. Now, only 1% of people, once they get to the point of no return, actually continue going, right? And this point right here is the point where it's just like, oh, like, I'm going to give up, right? You start saying, I'm going to give up. I'm not good enough. Oh, this vehicle, this business model doesn't work. Lies. Don't tell yourself that, man, because there's so many people that are making money with the things that you want to do. It's just that you have this tendency of telling yourself that you're not good enough and you want to give up. When you reach the point of no return, you just want to freaking crash. And when you crash and you go past the point of no return, you're actually hurting so many people in the future, like your future family. You're hurting yourself, including yourself. Like, you're hurting yourself. So anytime that you guys start something, you guys have to not give up at the points where your mind tells you that, you know what, maybe I have to take a break. You know what, maybe I'm going to have to give up because this is not working for me. Maybe I'm not the person to become successful. Maybe this vehicle, this business model doesn't work. You know, if you started affiliate marketing before, then odds are if you actually inhibit the traits of what it means to be responsible and not give up, and you go all in and you bet on yourself at the point of no return, then you would have been able to skyrocket and you would have been able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year. But you know what? You decide, you know what? I'm not good enough. I'm just mediocre. I don't want to become successful. You know, I'm happy with my life. Are you really happy with your life? You're probably not, right? So you need to be able to take responsibility, and you also have to accept the ego that you have, right? Ego is a massive one. Your ego is a congulation of your belief system. Your ego is a congulation of everything that you have experienced in the past that have molded your mind, okay? How come that your ego, you have told yourself so many times that it is not worth it? When you know deep down in every skill set that you have ever done, you were able to accomplish something great, right? Even in the most pressuring times, like when you had to finish a project for school or when you had to meet a deadline at 11:59, you figure out a way to do it. You got to drop the ego and you have to change it. You have to change your belief system because this point of no return, it actually exists. And if you don't take action on that, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt you in the long run. You're going to doubt, you're going to regret everything. Take the responsibility of rewiring your mind. Get rid of the ego that you have, that it's not going to work, and start thinking abundantly. Start thinking that it's actually going to happen, that you are worthy of becoming successful. Because if you don't, then you're going to stay in the exact position that you don't want to be in. Okay? And I know that it sounds difficult. I know that it sounds hard. And it almost seems almost impossible. But I'm telling you this right now because I was not supposed to be in anybody. You know what I mean? Like, my teachers told me that I wasn't going to become successful. My teachers told me that I wasn't going to get into the highest universities or colleges, or I'm not going to make any money at all, right? I was compared to the person that was living in the slums and in the trenches and being told that, you know, you're just going to be a pothead like that person and sell a bunch of drugs, right? But then all I had to do was just take that energy, take that pain, take that fear, transmute it into something positive, become a person that can actually make 10K per month, work on my habits, track everything, right? Now, this might be you right now, and you might be thinking, okay, is this actually worth it? It absolutely is. But you have to allow time to do its thing. Now that you're starting to get a better understanding as to like what you have to do and who you have to, and what you have to become in order to become successful, let's just really talk about, you know, how is money created in a market? Well, number one, people are only willing to pay people if it solves a problem, if it alleviates a pain. When pain is alleviated, it creates a market. And then people are willing to throw their money at it. Okay? You need to understand that if you know what the pains are in a market, and you know how, and you have a solution that can alleviate that pain, people are going to throw money at you. Right? Think about orthotics. Right? There's a lot of people that are flat-footed. There's a lot of people that deal with a lot of pain on their foot, on the soles of their feet. Right? People create these insoles for people to reduce the pain of their feet, reduce the pain on their back, and that's why there is a market. Another thing that you need to understand is that you need to become the person that can find a solution that is value. Solution equals value, and as soon as you have that solution, pain is alleviated, it creates value, now there's a market, and now people see that, and they're going to throw their money at it. They're going to throw your money at you, right? So Think about the biggest market in the world, right? Now what's super important is that in order to alleviate pain, right? We got pain alleviation, we got value, that creates a market, right? And this is where the money is. Right? This is also the solution. Now, in order for the money to become thrown at you, you need to bring this pain to the top of people's awareness. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is through content creation, which is actually going to be something that's super important that I'm going to talk about in the rest of these videos. It's something that you'll see on my YouTube videos. It's something that you're going to see in this course. Content creation is the only way that you're going to be able to bring the awareness or bring awareness to the problem and figure out a way to pitch your solution in order for it to create a market, in order for people to throw their credit cards at you. There's so many people in this world that have a pain. And even on top of that, if you were to even think about the pain that one person has or a pain that you have, you best believe that there are so many different people that suffer from the exact same pain and they're looking for a solution that you can solve or somebody else can solve, right? It's a very competitive market, but however, content creation is going to be the number one thing that is going to bring awareness to the pain. And that's how you're going to be able to deliver the value and the solution in order for it to create a market. And something else that's super important is that 99% of people buy a product because it solves a problem. So think about any product that you have bought in the past. Maybe you wake up extremely early, right? And you know that you can't get your day going and you can't think straight without having your coffee. So where do you go to? You go to Starbucks and it solves your problem. Think about when you go into a grocery store or you go into any kind of store and you go into the store with the intention of not buying anything, but then you come out with something that you never thought you would ever buy. And it's because the copy, it's because the graphic, it's because the box and the product actually solved the problem for you. It either made things very efficient or it made things easier for you to live your life. It made things ironically easier. And what's super interesting is that if you are able to deliver emotion or enough emotion to the customer in the content that you are creating, then you create more of an impulsive decision for them to make. If you drive the emotion so hard that it makes it almost irresistible to not buy that product, then they will throw their cards at you. So again, I want you to actually think about the products that you have bought in the past, and I want you to think and reverse engineer the process as to why you bought that product. Why did it make it easier? Because now, with that understanding of how you bought into something, you can start putting yourself in a position where on how you can make it happen for other people and have them send money to your bank account. Now, I know that I just went over this, but does this actually mean that you can sell any product? Well, yes, but you need to understand that it's not necessarily about product and market fit. It's never about that, and I'm probably sure, 99.9% sure, that you have heard something like product market fit before, right? And it's not a bad thing to learn. But the truth is, you've probably heard it so many times before, the world doesn't need more products, they need more solutions. So really, the reality of this, or the flip side of this, should be solution to product fit. It's all about solving problems. If you're able to solve a problem, if you're able to get people emotionally invested into it, then they will buy. It doesn't matter if you're in digital marketing, it doesn't matter if you're in affiliate marketing, it doesn't matter if you're in network marketing, it doesn't matter if you're in e-commerce, right? Whatever it is, there is a pain out there and you need to figure out a solution, and there is going to be a market in there if you have the solution, if there is value created, okay? What I want you to do is also look at the videos on TikTok or Instagram or any ad in general from an e-commerce store and try to see what the solution is and what they are solving, right? So if you on TikTok right now or Instagram or any product that you have seen online, just look at it, study it in depth. Okay, because you probably haven't done that before, but look at any brand that is selling a product and ask yourself, okay, what solution are they actually solving? And if you want, you can actually use ChatGPT and AI to actually ask, okay, what is the problem that they are solving? And then just start reading. It'll list you so many different so much information, and the surface area of how you think and how you can dive into different business models and sell different products will start to become a little bit easier. Now, in the beginning, it's not going to be that easy, but as you start to develop, as you start to gain this skill and you get better at it, it'll get better. I promise you guys this. So understand this, if you can't figure out the solution, right, and you don't understand the solution that the product actually holds, right, then people are going to be unwilling, right, I'm just going to draw a person. People are going to be unwilling to pay their money to you, right? Why? Because we're not focusing on the solution. we're focusing on the product, and we need to be able to make sure that the solution that we have alleviates their pain. Now, we talked about the vehicle, we talked about, the business models and how they all work. I want to talk more about you. Because if your goal is to make $10,000 per month, then you have to become someone who can actually achieve that goal. 10K per month is just an effect and an output. And in order to achieve that, you have to figure what will be the cause and what will be the inputs in order for me to achieve 10K per month. So for example, if this is you, and you're gonna make 10K per month, and what you chose was drop shipping, we already know that the business model works. But instead of focusing on this, right, focus on you. There was actually this millionaire that I was talking to the other day, and I asked him, how did you become a millionaire at the age of 20 years old? And he basically told me, I started focusing on myself and less about the money. So again, who do you have to become? What are the traits that you're going to have to inherit in order to make 10K per month? Because right now, with the habits that you're living, it is not worthy of making $10,000 per month. So don't fixate around 10K per month. Fixate on who do I have to become in order to actually make $10,000 a month and have that come to me easily, right? Again, like I said, people achieve goals, right? And then you also got to think about, again, what are the inputs? What are the inputs that you have to put in? How much work do you have to do in order to get to 10K per month? Now, I want to get super universal right now. I want to talk about a universal law, cause and effect. 10K per month is just the effect of what the cause actually is. So what are you going to cause in your life in order to become successful and hit 10K per month? What is the cause? And even if you were to increase that number from 10K a month to 20K per month to 50K per month, what will be the cause? And will you be able to get the effect of it? Because the causes that you're creating, the inputs that you are putting in, are not in congruency with the effect that you have. So the effect of your life right now is probably, you're probably broke, right? You're figuring out ways on how to make money, right? You're upset, you're depressed. Well, what are the causes of it, right? What is the reason as to why you are living the life that you're living? Like, why can't you break out of your shell? Why can't you just take off at the point of no return, right? So cause and effect, you guys got to understand that the inputs that you put in has an effect. 10K per month is just the effect, but what is the cause? Who do you have to become in order to make $10,000 per month? And if you can't accept it, and then you can't accept to look to change it, then you're just as good as a pickle on the side of the road. Again, the inputs are important. And even if, like I said, if I were to give you a bunch of tasks that you're going to have to complete that I do on a day-to-day basis, would you be able to complete them? Because this is you with a bunch of horrible habits that you have. And if I were to give you a business, and this was me, and I would say, hey, here's the business, dude, and I were to hand it to you, and now you have it, you would just fail miserably. Because you don't have what it takes. Because you haven't developed the traits and the habits in order to achieve 10K per month. It's kind of like Thor from Marvel, and Thor from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The only way that you're going to be able to pick up that hammer is if you're worthy enough of picking up that hammer. If the son of Odin or whatever, Melnor or something, thinks that you are a worthy person of picking up the hammer. Think about that for a second. Every business model works. And I know that it's a hard truth to swallow that, the habits that you have and the life that you're living, maybe you think that, it's all a lie and stuff like that. But I want to be able to tell things that are true. And I know that it's a tough pill to swallow. But I would rather tell you the truth than a lie. Because I believe that lying is just absolutely horrid. And you have to be an honest person. You have to be genuine. You have to be authentic. That's why you're here in the first place. So the question becomes, now that you understand that every single vehicle works, you understand that you are the cause of the effect and the output of making 10K per month, right? Whatever it is. The question becomes, how do you change you? And I'm going to talk about how did I change myself, right? Now, if I were to ask you, who are you? You'd probably give me a very vague response, something that is very arbitrary, like what your name is and what you like doing on the weekends, right? You give something that is very surface level information, right? But I'm not talking about if you've ever seen the super ego, the ego, and the id, right? Oh, it's a horrible mountain. This is what you would tell me. You say, I work here. My name is. I like soccer. That's probably the answer that you would give me. But I'm not asking you, okay, who are you? And you give me this information that's very arbitrary. I'm asking you who you are as an individual. It's like when you go to a job and you're going through an interview and they start asking you these questions that you never thought you would have to answer. Like, are you motivated? Are you disciplined? How do you work with other people around you? Or how do you deal with destruction or consequences? Right? How do you deal with failure? Right? Those are the answers that you need to figure out here. And you need to be very, very specific on, what that list is. Because once you become aware of what your identity actually is, you can actually start to pick and point at what you want to change. And if you're not willing to change it, then again, you're just going to go through this cycle and this loop of just like constant fear, anxiety, destruction, right? And we want to change that. So the point is that, you aren't someone who likes soccer. You're not someone who likes soccer. If you remember my video last time where I talked about, all the different characteristics or traits that entrepreneurs have, then you'd know that, maybe you do like soccer or whatever. But let's dive a little bit deeper. What does it mean? Like, what is your ego? Like, what is your identity? Your identity is just a collection of skills, beliefs, and characteristics, right? So you got skills, beliefs, and characteristics. And all this shit is developed over time. All of this stuff right here, the skills, the beliefs, the characteristics, it's all done over time, right? And you have to allow time to do its thing in order to develop a skill, in order to become super obsessed with it, in order to make yourself believe that it's actually worth it of doing it. But you also got to tell yourself, instead of telling yourself that it's not going to work, you got to tell yourself that it's going to work. And these different parts of you, like skills, beliefs, and characteristics, they communicate exactly what you want, right? So before you can even get to 10K per month, then you need to start breaking this down, right? Because right now, your current skills, beliefs, and characteristics is what's keeping you in the broke stage. Because you're not curious. You're not going out there and you're not exploring. You're not testing and doing things that you are fearful of, right? So let's just go back to making 10K per month. For example, this is you, right? And you're this decent, comme ci, comme ça, happy individual, right? And you have these ambitions of becoming successful. And that is up here, right? And this is where you have all the money, you have all the cars, right? You have the dream house, you have the time, location, financial freedom, right? It's not that you want to make 10K per month, because this could honestly be whatever, right? It could be 100K a month, it could be 30K per month, right? But I want you guys to ask yourself, but now what I want you to do is just really ask yourself, is it 10K per month that you want, right? Because most of the time, it's not that $10,000 is what they want. People just want time, location, and financial freedom. That's all they want. They like the materialistic and the lifestyle that it comes with. That's why you see a lot of people on the internet and social media creating this kind of content, the envious content, right? So it's not that you want to make 10K per month. It's that you want to live a life and you want to have a car. You want to have the nice house and all that stuff, right? You want everything and only the upbringing factors that come with making $10,000 per month. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want you to be super specific on what you want to achieve, right? Everything, like for example, like me, when I wanted my Tesla, I told my parents I wanted the Tesla, and that was the only thing that was on my mind, and I got it 4 years later. So dive deeper, be specific as to what you want. Because if you're not specific, then you're not putting things into reality. Try to figure out and be as present as possible and figure out what is the gap that is between me and my ideal self. What is the gap between you and your ideal self? Because right now you have your life right now. I'm sure it's going well. At least you believe it is, or maybe it's going down to shit. But what is the gap between you and your ideal self? And in order to figure out what this gap actually is, what are you going to have to rewire based off of the skills that you have? Or what skills do you have to add? What beliefs do you have? And what are your characteristics? Do you know what those are? Because if you don't, then how would you know what you got to do? So let's just start off with what is belief? Or what is a skill, sorry. A skill is basically just being good at something. So let's just say you want to start an e-commerce and you want to start creating content, you want to start building up your own brand, then you got to start asking yourself, what are the skills that I need in order to achieve that goal? So for example, with the skill with eCom, You need to know content creation, D2C, marketing. You need to build a website. Those are the things that you're going to have to figure out. You also need to know how to fulfill orders, customer support. Right? Now, obviously, this seems like a lot, but again, bring it back to the skills that you have acquired in the past, that you've built up, that you've developed in your lifetime. Let's talk about beliefs. This is what I like to call faith. I like to put faith in it. Faith isn't really a belief, but it's just like the ability to see something and achieve something that you can't even see. It's believing in something that you can't even see with your own eyes. So you have to have the faith to believe that you can acquire these skills, and that becomes a very confident and abundant characteristic that you need. How many times have you guys thought about the word abundance, or how many times have you heard the word abundance? How many of you guys are actually hypocritical between what is an abundant lifestyle and what is scarcity? You guys want to achieve an abundant life, but you think scarce, right? So what are the beliefs that you have to change? Usually it comes down to faith. I can do anything I put my mind to. How are you self-training yourself to believe that you can achieve these skills? Because you can't just get to 10K per month without learning these skill sets and without having the confidence and abundant mindset to actually get to that goal. And I can go deeper and deeper and deeper into all these three different things. However, I want to just summarize it as this, that you have an incredible latent ability to pick up a skill. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, you've done it before. You've accomplished things through very massive pressures. Now, why can't you do it again? And you also got to be very mindful and realistic with this, right? Is learning these skills worth it? Well, is it worth it? Is doing the same things that's keeping you broke worth it? Because I'll tell you what, staying broke and where you are is far more painful than actually starting to make a change and develop these skill sets. Good things only come when you're actually evolving and you're making yourself better. Skills pay the bills. Make sure that you guys keep that in mind. Now, I know I went through a lot of different things in this video, but I want you guys to keep in mind that if you want to get to 10K per month, it really just starts with you. And if you are not able to remold your mind, because your mind is very malleable, into believing that you can achieve 10K per month, then you will. You have to become the person that is capable of achieving 10K per month. So again, if you haven't written down any of the negative things that are happening in your life and you haven't listed that out, you haven't identified them, I want you to do that right now. It's going to make things so much easier. You need to become aware of the weaknesses that you have, and you have to have a drive and the ambition to actually change it, right? It's the only way. That's why you hear so many different crazy stories of how people went from broke to multi-millionaire. It's why you've seen so many crazy stories about how athletes went from literally sleeping on the streets to becoming a $100 million athlete, signing $350 million contracts for 5 years. This stuff actually exists, right? And I know that you feel like, okay, you know what? Well, if I were to if this was a pendulum, right? And you were swinging here, right? And you're swinging left and you want to swing right. This here, you believe that your life is absolutely horrid. You believe that everything that is happening to you is happening to you and not for you. But the moment you start understanding that it's actually happening for you, then your pendulum will start to swing the other direction and you'll actually end up here, right? If you believe that your life is at the absolute lowest point of your career or the point of your life, understand that just by taking simple action and by telling yourself that you're good enough and by changing your mindset, changing how you've been wired, how you've been programmed by so many different other people's projections, so many different people's ideas that aren't even your ideas, then you will start to swing in the other direction. And what ends up happening is that once you start reaching the point of no return, once you get here, you're ready to take off and you're ready to make tens of thousands of dollars, right? And the truth is that a lot of the people that I have worked with, they have already caught up to my level. If not, they have become far more successful than I ever have, right? And it's because they understand the importance of themselves rather than the money it comes with, right? You have to focus on yourself. You have to become somebody that is actually worthy of achieving hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year, right? Focus on you. Don't focus on the money. Focus on the habits that you can fix. Learn to fix the weaknesses that you currently have. Make the adjustment and become an amazing human being.